All right, let's go to 2 Timothy 2, 3 through 4.
The 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 3. Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Jesus Christ.
All right, so it's going to be a rough one. The bottom line is you have to stand through it all. There's going to be a lot of confusion. There's going to be a lot of rebelliousness in the last days. But we understand. Been there and done that. I get it. All right? But the end of it is death. That's why we must wake up. They're not going to tell you this on the news. But this is the most important decision you can make in your life. And that's to choose the Most High. All right? Read.
No man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who had chosen him to be a soldier.
Right. So just like in spirituality, the bottom line is you have to realize it's just like the Marines. It's just like being in the Army. You're going to have to step away from the world for a time to get your mind right. Get yourself set up properly, mentally. This is the way it is. When you're in the military, they literally take you away for a time from your family and everything to focus in on what they need you to focus in on so that you're ready for battle. That's the same thing with spirituality. You must separate yourself. Okay? You must separate yourself. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 10, 13. Yeah, just a little bit. So we get the shot. 1 Corinthians 10 and 13. 10 and 13. Yes, yes.
1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13. There hath no temptation taken you but such as is common to man. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that you are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, that you may be able to bear it.
All right, so this is one of those things where you have to realize there's nothing new under the sun. There's things that have been before, okay, that we don't understand existed before, and we have to recognize the fact that it's nothing new and there's nothing uncommon to man. Everything you're going through in the flesh has happened before, okay? So you have to expand your mind to beyond these confines, this prison that you're a part of. All right? And free yourself from the bondage of sin. All right? Let's continue. Let's go to Sirach, the 2nd chapter. Let's grab that apocrypha there. We got the apocrypha there? Yeah. Let's grab that apocrypha there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You have a question? Okay. Well, let's see. We got the sign here. Okay, fantastic. Fantastic. Perfect. All right. Well, what are we talking about, right? Okay, well, first we were talking about overcoming our flesh. That's number one. But what we also teach, according to the Bible, the people on this sign here, as you can see, are actually part of the children of Israel here. All right. What we also teach is that these people must come back to their law, statutes, and commandments because they were cursed by God for breaking them. All right. Now, what's the resolve here? When it comes to, you said you're from Israel, right? That means, according to the Bible, unless you fit the curses, you're a Gentile. Now, they may not tell you that in Israel, right? Okay. They may not tell you that in Israel, right? But the question is, you're probably saying, well, then what? Well, it just so happens that it's Jew first and then the Gentile. So now you have to figure out, okay, well, if I'm not part of this, what do I do now? What do I do for myself? If I still want to do the right thing, what do I do? We're going to go to Acts 10, 28. All right? Because this is the part that's not spoken. Even in the street, when you see these brothers up here talking about certain things, they kind of, they're telling you some truth, but they're not giving you everything you need to know. All right? We're going to go into Cornelius for a second here. All right? Because Cornelius was a Gentile. All right? And he actually was following the same understanding as the Jews. To the point where he got a lot of respect. He was known as a devout man. Right? Let's read that. 10 and 28.
Acts chapter 10, verse 28. And he said unto them, Ye know how that it is an unlawful thing for a man that is a Jew to keep company or come unto one of another nation. But God had showed me that I should not call any man common or unclean.
All right, so the truth of the matter is, before this time, the Jews did not go and deal with any Gentiles, because the Gentiles were dealing with other gods. Okay, they were considered unclean. But the Most High in Acts the 10th chapter gave a dream to Peter saying, look, kill and eat. You probably remember that, maybe some of you. And what he did was, he told him, look, you're about to receive a Gentile named Cornelius. You're going to meet with him, you're going to talk with him, and understand. But I guess they had enough of the answer. So anyway, we're going to continue with the story in case someone's paying attention here. So, read on.
Verse 29, therefore came I unto you without gainsaying, as soon as I was sent forth. I asked therefore for what intent ye have sent me for me. And Cornelius said, 4 days ago I was fasting until this hour, and at the 9th hour I prayed in my house, and behold, a man stood before me in bright clothing, and said, Cornelius, thy prayer is heard, and thine alms are had in remembrance in the sight of God. Send therefore to Joppa, and call hither Simon, whose surname is Peter. He is lodged in the house of one Simon, a tanner by the seaside, who when he cometh shall speak unto thee. Immediately therefore I sent to thee, and thou hast well done that thou art come. Now therefore we are here present before God, to hear all things that are commanded thee of God.
All right, so we're going to cut it short. Now, the bottom line is that Peter actually realized through that dream and vision that he was supposed to deal with Cornelius here, even though in prior times we did not deal with the Gentiles because they were following other gods. Okay? That's confirmed by Acts the 15th chapter and the 14th verse on down. So our job here again is Jew first and then the Gentile. We were on a particular topic, but again, these are the tribes predominantly and where they're located today. They're going under a curse. They're under a curse and don't realize who they are. Matter of fact, we'll switch topics for a second to confirm that. Let's go to, for example, a curse for the children of Israel. Let's go to Jeremiah 17:4. Because again, as we stated before, we're here to preach the good news, to bring liberty to the captives. Our people have been captive too long, whether mentally, physically, spiritually. We've been locked up for a long time. All right, read that, please.
Jeremiah 17:4. And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee. And I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever.
All right, so the creator of all things, the Hayat, his name is the great I Am, okay? He was angry at us to the point where he said, look, I'm going to make you even forget about your own heritage. You won't know who you are. You'll be walking around saying things like, I'm a Gentile. I'm black. There's so many names we've come up with ourselves for, in this level of captivity that we're under. And now it's time to wake up to back to who we are in these last days. All right? And also, why? Because the world needs us to wake up. It was always our responsibility to bring the world the truth so that they can actually change as well to heal this world. All right? You got to realize this is a principalities and powers thing here, brothers and sisters. Satan has a problem with all of us. He has a problem with the image of the Most High. Unless we come back to our identity and stand up, he'll win this battle. But we all know how it is. Let's not kid ourselves. The Most High wins in the end. All right? Let's jump over to some of these curses, though. Let's go to Deuteronomy 28:15. We're going to go there. Because once you really pay attention to the curses, brothers and sisters, there's no denying who the people are. Okay? There's no denying. 28:15. Let's read that.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
All these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. When you think of a cursed people, I want you to seriously think in your imagination, your mind. Take a second and think about who you know that above all seems cursed. It's not that hard. Put two and two together. Right? We are bugged out as a people, and the Most High is saying we have to wake up because the whole creation is waiting for us to snap out of it. They've destroyed our globe and just torn things apart while we sat asleep at the wheel, basically. It was our job to wake up the other nations and tell them how to follow the Most High. It was our job to teach each other the right ways. Instead, we follow the ways of the world. All right, let's go to that. Let's go down. Let's continue.
Verse 16. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
Cursed in the city and cursed in the field. Who do you know that trumps these people on this sign here for being cursed in the city and cursed in the field? It's something to these things. We got to pay attention here, folks. All right? Read.
Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body and the fruit of thy land.
Man, we're living, let me tell you something. We're living worse than paycheck to paycheck. We have to be the people. What savings? They say what, the average sister may have, what, $6 at the end of the year saved? That's a statistic. $6. This can't be talking about anyone else. We're lucky to have that. A lot of times we got to borrow against that. We take the last 20 we had out of the account, like, man, I gotta get something to eat. Then we gotta buy the worst food we can find just to help our family sustain. Read.
Excuse me. And the fruit of thy land, the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep. Cursed that shalt thou be when thou comest in, and cursed shalt thou be when thou goest out.
Let me ask y'all something. What sheep do these people actually have on this sign? Even if they're in a place where it's nice, their sheep belong to someone else, belong to the government or something. It's got to be talking about us. Read.
Verse 20. The Lord shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, and rebuke, and all that thou settest thine hand unto for to do, until thou be destroyed.
All right, and we are destroyed as a people. That's why people look at us and say, man, what's up with them? Why? These guys are out of their minds. They're on World Star and everything, fighting and killing. And what's wrong with these people? Why are they so crazy? Let's go to 28 to find out if that's part of the curse too. That craziness you see amongst our people.
Verse 28. The Lord shall smite thee with madness.
He shall smite thee with madness. You'll see us walking up the block, down the block. We were the originators of walking up the block, up and down the block with madness. You may see the other nations and so forth with, they deal with some drugs and things, they get a little bugged up. We were the originators. The stuff you're seeing today, you forget the crack era was in our neighborhoods first. All right? We were the destroyed. These people on this sign that have no idea who they are. And why? Because we broke the commandments of God. Okay? And in turn, there were people put over us. So it was our fault ultimately. I don't blame anyone for what we did. It's foolish to actually blame the belt that whipped you. Pay attention to your own actions. Let's jump down to a few other curses here. Let's go to 48.
Verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things.
Okay, that's the thing. We don't own anything. Even in our own neighborhoods, it belongs to someone else, the businesses. Hunger and thirst and want of all things, nakedness, we don't own companies. Even when we try to set up a t-shirt business, we got to call somebody else to get the supplies for that. So let's be real here. We're the people. It just comes with responsibility. We must step up our game and come back, man. Because the whole world is waiting for us to come back. This is a sign of a wonder for you. All over this country right now, you're seeing brothers stand up on different corners. And yes, some of them have different beliefs, but they have one common understanding. We're the people. All right? Let's jump down to 64. Let's deal with a curse that no one can lay claim to but the people here. Read that.
And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone.
All right. We were scattered from one end of the earth to the other. Not by choice, by force. We didn't own no boats. We didn't get on any and say, okay, well, take me somewhere. We were captive. That's the reality of it. So we must wake up in these last days and realize who we are so we can help this world to heal. Because it is wounded. All right? Let's jump over to the real curse here. Let's get to 68. Because it's about waking the people up. We have very little time left, folks. And this is for all. We have very little time left. Read, please.
Verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
Egypt is a Greek word which means bondage. In the Bible, it's known as bondage. Okay? We shall be brought again into bondage with ships. Let's prove that. Go to Exodus, the 20th chapter. Let's prove what Egypt has to do in the Bible, what it actually has to do with. Let's prove that.
Exodus chapter 20, verse 1. And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
Out of the house of bondage. We must understand that we were put on ships for bondage because of our forefathers' sins. It's just the way it works with the Most High. He understands how a root can be wicked. That's why we must change the course of history right now and do what's right. To change that curse upon each and every one of our families. All right? Read.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
All right, so being sold unto your enemies. Who else fits that curse but the people on this side? And those that, because also, this is a generalized understanding though. We also have brothers that went on ships from Africa into India. A lot of people don't know this history. So we're out here to wake up the captives. This is the good news, folks. If these people wake up, the world will change. Okay? Children will stop being traumatized by all manner of foolishness. It's that time. All right? Let's jump over to, let's see, let's go to Deuteronomy. Matter of fact, no, let's go into something more on the other side. What we must do now. Because we've been told that the law is done away with, right? Let's first go to Christ to see if that's true. Let's go to Matthew 5 and 17. Because, again, if we fail for breaking the Most High's commandments, obviously, if we want to get back into His good graces, we must do the reverse, right? Well, why aren't they teaching that? Because it's not our kingdom. You got to have people under you doing, all the menial jobs and the disgusting things that no one else will do, and that's what has been our lot for centuries. All right. Let's read that.
Matthew chapter 5, verse 17. Think not that I come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled.
All right, so heaven and earth is still here, folks. That means that law is still in effect. And it's a mystery to me how we can teach it's done away with when it's a righteous kingdom being set up here soon. If this kingdom has laws, why wouldn't the kingdom of the Most High? Why wouldn't it have rules that must be followed? Common sense, right? So look, He had rules for us to follow, and we broke them. All right, read that.
Verse 19. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments, and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven.
Right. So what you have to understand is, you're called great for teaching this law. You're called the least. That means you're worthless if you're teaching we shouldn't learn. And hey, we're open for questions if anybody,
disagrees. But otherwise, look, you got to look at the facts here. We are destroyed people. Spirits all over us. And all we have to do in the first place was do what the Most High said in His commandments. I mean, it's like we're delusional at this point. We don't understand that there's all kinds of demons trying to pull us apart. Okay? And that's how they like it. They like it because as long as we're divided, whether Jew or Gentile, guess what? They still win. I don't care if you're a Gentile. They're not letting you in their circles. They'll keep you just at a certain level. So you might as well jump on the bandwagon here. All right? Because once it's said and done, and I'm sure we can all see this world is done, this kingdom will stand, the Most High's kingdom that we're speaking of. All right? That's just what it is. So wake up. You know, you can only party so long, folks. But then that party eventually turns into a sickness. You're sitting there trying to figure out what happened. You're disoriented. You're all over the can, and you're sitting there telling the Lord, hey, look, if you just let me survive this, you know, I'll change. That's the way it always ends. So we have to free ourselves from these spirits. All right? The law is still in place. It helps us to keep our minds right. Let's go to Romans 3, 29. Let's start at 29. Romans 3 and 29.
This is Romans chapter 3, verse 29. Is He the God of the Jews only? Is He not also of the Gentiles? Yes, of the Gentiles. Seeing it is one God, which shall justify the circumcision by faith and the uncircumcision through faith. Do we then make void the law through faith? God forbid.
All right, so you can't just rest on faith, folks. There's still going to be laws in this kingdom. You can't look, and you notice it's talking to everyone. There will be laws in this kingdom that we all will have to serve up under. That's just what it is. It's just that we have a different place in the kingdom, that's all. Just like this kingdom, we got a different place, don't we? I mean, even amongst the most bugged out, we seem to somehow take the cake. Even though I walk up and down this road, I'm like, okay, this bugged out, that's bugged out. Why are we always the top one? We always outdo everyone. It's spirits, all right? Let's go ahead. Let's see, Romans 2, let's deal with 6 and 1 there. Romans 6 and 1. Because again, this is really a public service announcement for everyone. The world has to change. I tell you, if Christ don't come back when He's supposed to come back, no flesh shall be saved. No flesh. World War III will be the end game, folks. While they got you shopping until you drop, hey, you better pick this up in the meantime too. You better pay attention. World War III is coming. As a matter of fact, it's already started. You just haven't paid attention. The Bible says wars and rumors of wars. We are definitely in the last days. All right? Read that, please.
Romans chapter 6, verse 1. What shall we say then? Shall we continue in sin that grace may abound? God forbid. How shall we that are dead to sin live any longer therein? Know ye not that so many of us as were baptized into Jesus Christ were baptized into His death?
All right, so we went to the water so that we could be different now, folks. A lot of us been posing in these churches, man. We go to the water just to feel good for a second, but we have no desire to change. We're still doing the same old confusion. So this is where we must focus. We must now say, okay, what's missing from my life? Could it be the law? Could it be that I'm a lawless individual? You have to think about these things. All right? Now, let's go into some key things here. All right? Because again, hey, somebody's got to do this job. Let's go to Matthew 21, 16 through 17. Someone has to do this job. 21, 16 through 17.
This is Matthew chapter 21, verse 16. And He said unto him, Hearest thou what these say? And Jesus saith unto them, Yea, have ye never read? Out of the mouth of babes and sucklings thou hast perfected praise.
All right. So this mission was sent to those that, look, they can't take credit for what they've done here. They can't take credit. they're here doing the work of the will of the Father. And they look, some of them you may say, man, that guy's a little young. Shouldn't he be like 60-something preaching in the Bible? No, the reality is that Christ was in his 30s when he walked the earth. All right? So there's something that we have to realize, that this has to be a thing about the Most High from here on out. It can't be about me taking credit because I have a special degree. All right? So we're not here on that. All right? So let's continue on. Let's go to Matthew 9, 16 through 17.
You want to get
And in a second, we're going to get into the Most High's
Go,
name.
bro, for real, man.
Yes, sir.
Leave, bro.
This is Matthew chapter 9, verse 16. No man putteth a piece of new cloth unto an old garment, for that which is put in to fill it up, take it from the garment, and the rent is made worse. Neither do men put new wine into old bottles, else the bottles break, and the wine runneth out.
All right, so a lot of us ain't ready for this truth. That's just what it is. You've been programmed to think the wrong way. Noah was on the earth prophesying for years and years, and the people just acted like he was saying nothing until that flood came, which has been confirmed, is funny enough, in every culture on the earth. The flood happened, folks. All right? I don't care what they want to call it now. They might say, okay, let's call it the Ice Age. The flood happened, folks. That's what we must realize. Let's go into this. Isaiah 54 and 16. His judgment is coming. 54 and 16.
This is Isaiah chapter 54, verse 16. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. And I have created the waster to destroy.
All right, so the Most High is actually stirring up this battle. Y'all wondering why they're so focused on Iran all the time, always sanctioning them and everything? That's because they know, according to prophecy, the Persians or the Medes will deal with this place. That's what they're not telling you. How can we think that this kind of confusion at this level can go on forever? The kingdom of the Most High is forever. Don't kid yourselves, folks. They know what prophecies are about to go down in this earth. They're just not telling you. They just come with another event to distract you and have you still bugged out. Why do you think they legalized all these drugs at the very end? This is the same thing they did with alcohol in the early 1900s. Because they knew if people are as stressed out as they are, would go crawling and scratching to get to that next high note. And now we are destroyed. There's not much time left. Stop kidding yourself. I mean, seriously, let's go there. Let's keep going, man. Let's deal with a fact of the matter here when it comes to a few understandings here. Jeremiah 31 and 31. This is what we have to do. If we want to avoid this war that's coming, if we want to make it somehow through this, folks, we have to change our ways. We have to put these ideals into our hearts. All right? Read that, please.
Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 31. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was an husband unto them, saith the Lord. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. After those days, saith the Lord, I will put my law in their inward parts, and write it in their hearts, and will be their God, and they shall be my people.
All right, so it would come a time when we would actually get this and feel what the Most High was saying and put it internally for a change. All right? And really, that's what everyone should be doing. What more do we have left here, folks? I mean, seriously. We got to start putting the understandings of the Most High within us. Because he's calling all to repentance here. He don't want to have to see the fire of this thing when it go down. We told you. Bible prophecy is clear. This place will be done. Babylon the Great is fallen. Let's go to Revelations 18. It's fallen. I even examined, just the aspect of things out here.
There used to be a time when this place looked glorious, man. Spotless. Look at it now.